All right, so got all our overflow plumbing in place. We got our Durzos in place. We've got our return lines. It'll get lock lines on these sides. Then we're going to get into our Tunze mounting, which is going to be quite interesting. We're going to have our Tunzes mounted on little arms that'll kind of protrude out from the live rock on either of these bulkheads here. So we've got a custom install for those where the wires will actually be routed up through the overflow instead of inside the tank. People, have this issue with power heads where they got the wires going inside the tank, but we've got a really custom solution for that. So stay tuned.
So we're now to the point where Scott's starting to mount the Tunzes inside the tank.
Just doing our checking now. What'll happen is this goes on there like so. That wire's going to go through this pipe, and then we'll go.
You can't see what he's talking about, but
wire goes through the pipe, through this little pipe, and this will slide over the wire.
So he's modified the mounts on the Tunzes so that we can run the cord itself through the overflow. That way the cords are not inside the tank itself.
And we can direct our flow.
And so there will be 4 of these Tunzes mounted to the sides of the internal overflow. 2 on either side.
Get the little Tunze mount there. Snaps in place.
No, actually, it's all right. It's fine.
So Scott is making some notches in the pipe that will couple the Tunze mounts to the bulkheads. This is also where the power cords will pass through there, so kind of a custom little modification. And then Cande and Reggie are now going to start pre-assembling at least some of the foundation pieces of the rock. So we can kind of start getting a little ahead of the game here. Again, he had built the whole thing about 3 weeks ago, disassembled it so we could cure it, and now we're just hoping that he remembers how it goes back together.
So, Cande, yes, sir. Do you think I can mount the Tunzes in there forehand or no? You don't think you're going to be banging them off?
So each Tunze has a cord, obviously, and that's going to have to pass through his little fitting that he just made, and then in turn what we're doing is pushing those power cords in through the overflow. And then you can see here that's how the Tunzes will mount into the side of the overflow.
So Cande, take a look at this and just tell me you're going to be able to work around that without beating them up.
And what he's trying to decide now is, does he mount them while we have the tank on its side and easily accessible before Cande puts the rock in there.
So when I refer to the Tunzes, I'm talking about their internal pumps, the model 6255, that will move water within inside the tank. And they're one of the many products manufactured by Tunze from Germany. I can remember back in the mid-80s installing the Tunze version where the motor was above the water level and the impeller portion was within a tube down inside the tank. Today's Tunze internal pumps are designed to be compact and completely submersible.
All right, so we got to get to the little cables inside the Tunze. We got to take them apart.
So to get to the cable, so that we can actually pass it through the bulkhead, we have to disassemble what I believe is an inline controller for the Tunzes. And then there's a connection in there that'll allow us to disconnect it from the controller, and then pass the plug end. That's the plug in there. Pass that through the bulkhead itself. So you will not be using those controllers then?
Yeah, we will.
Oh, okay. So he'll end up reassembling those at some point. I think in addition to adjusting the speed, it also offers different levels of speed.
One thing that's going to be a nightmare about this tank is cleaning the back ends there around the Tunzes.
Right, reaching way down in
Your
there.
magnets aren't going to fit between the glass and the things. So you have to come up with a brush that will allow you to get in there. It's a tight space.
Well, there's going to be a few challenges with tall, deep tanks. So,
All right, gentlemen.
all right. So, give us a quick little. So, oh my! I see you got your Tunzes mounted inside there.
Yep, we got our Tunzes all mounted up. Wires come through the back. Got our overflow lid. Got the wires through just like so. Keeps the wires out of the tank. Custom install if we need to clean a Tunze or service them. Pretty straightforward. These things pop right off, and you pull the cable through. I have a similar setup in my tank. I just wash the Tunzes up above the tank. Unlike those Chinese Jabos, these Tunzes are beasts. Their magnets weigh almost as much as an entire Jabo, and I've gone 3 years, not recommended, but I've gone a few years without cleaning my Tunzes. They look like rocks from all the coralline over them, yet they still produce great flow. Never had an issue. These are the 6205 or 6255 Tunzes, which are really oversized for this tank, but we went that route because it has a wider flow, and we'll just tune them way down with the apex, but still give us a nice wide flow pattern over the very tall tank. Again, we got our wires all out of sight, and the rock scape will be both around these so that you really can't see them. So the next step is to get this tank in and on its stand, and Cande, you start working on the rock scape, and I'll get going on the rest of the funnel.
It's now time to carry the tank into the house and place it on top of its metal stand and plywood top. While it's not a very heavy tank, we do need to take care that the bulkheads passing through its bottom line up with and pass through the plywood cutouts in the top of the stand.
In like Flanders.
Okay, tank is in position on top of its stand. Kind of expect it to be a little bit taller, but 30-inch stand, 42-inch tank. You can see the plumbing is down underneath. And that'll rise up and attach to the bulkheads on the underside there. And then there's the internal overflow. Reggie is currently getting the ladders in here.
With the club foot.
And one of the things that we want to watch out for is in pulling the plastic off. I'm going to make sure that nobody, absolutely nobody, has a pocket knife in their hand. I don't want Jack the pocket knife to jinx this tank once again. So, all right, we're just about ready for Cande and Reggie to start putting the rock in, and then Scott will go out here and start working on the filter system. Get this ball rolling.
When you think of Tunze products, you probably think of protein skimmers, internal pumps, and submersible filters. But did you know Tunze also offers water level controllers, reverse osmosis water purification systems, pH, temperature, and ORP instrumentation? Are you aware of Tunze's full line of various filter medias and LED lighting? Have you seen Tunze's updated line of Turbelle pumps, the NanoStream, the Stream, and the MasterStream, along with their controllers? In addition to their wide product line, what Tunze in Germany wants you to also see is their technology, their quality, their craftsmanship, and in particular, their people and the pride that goes into every one of their products and its assembly. Tunze, high-tech aquarium ecology. Have you ever wondered how the coolest jellyfish tank idea came about? It all started with an idea, a simple drawing, and some cardboard. Originally, it was going to be hexagonal in shape and was assembled with painter's tape. Once it was put together, a handmade plastic version was built and then tested. It quickly became obvious the hex shape was too complex to cut and then assemble, so a simpler and more cost-effective version was redesigned. Its intake screens required some altering and an assembly process had to be defined, and then it was tested with real jellyfish. Since the concept seemed to work, more thought was put towards its design, and that's when the light bulb came on, or should I say, 3D technology occurred. Today's trend is 3D CAD design and 3D printing, and that was the real Thomas Edison moment. Now, using state-of-the-art 3D software and 3D printing, the coolest and most innovative jellyfish product, which will fit any manufacturer's equally sided tank, including open-top glass tanks, is now available. The Jelliquarium 360 is available in 3 sizes, ranging from 4 to 10 gallon desktop tanks to the mid-size 12 to 35 gallon tanks, and a third size for the 55 to 200 gallon walk-around tanks, with a 4th extra large size in the works. It's the all-new and exciting Jelliquarium 360. Visit Jelliquarium360.com for more information or purchasing. Hi there, my name's Jim Stime, and you know me as the LA Fish Guy. Well, I also wear a couple of other hats. One of them is the jellyfish tank called the Jelliquarium, and the third is myfishtank.com. I offer an entire line of acrylic aquariums ranging from rectangular to hexagon, flatback hex, as well as the custom curve front aquariums. There's also an entire line of stands and canopies ranging from MDF to pine to oak, with a variety of different finishes available. And the website is even smart enough that you can calculate what the freight and crate charges to your location will be. That's myfishtank.com.
All right, so those of you who have been with LA Fishguys since the beginning will probably remember, I believe it's episode 17, when we ended up replacing the original cylinder tank. And after we got it all brought in, everybody got all excited in the process of unwrapping the tank. And one of the guys, we'll refer to him as Jack the pocket knife guy, decided to use his pocket knife to eliminate the paper and the plastic on the tank. So, nobody has a pocket knife, correct? Alright, so no pocket knives, the tank is being unwrapped. You can feel the static electricity on the tank. Alright, no big scratches, thank goodness. So now you can see maybe the Tunzes on the overflow, and it's now at this point, I think it's pretty close to 1 o'clock. The two boys have been teasing me about lunch, but it's now time for them to go to work. So
Time for them to go to work.
thanks for being patient, boys. Sorry you're not getting lunch at lunchtime, but we need to move forward on this job. So having said that, if you would, go ahead and start doing your rock sculpture. You're doing your Cande magic.
And with the tank unwrapped, and Cande now able to start assembling his live rock sculpture up inside the tank, Scott and Reggie will start connecting the plumbing lines to the bottom side of the tank. For both the drain and the return side, they will include ball valves, which will serve as an adjustment point or future work points.
So now with the drain and return bulkheads in place, it's time to start connecting the lines that are coming up from the trench, which comes from outside.
Scott will use the standard clear PVC cement for the ball valve fittings, but when it comes to the flex tube PVC and its connections, he'll use some of that purple primer and then that purple PVC cement.
Oh, the purple stuff. My favorite.
Yeah,
Please do an attractive,
Okay, give it a second. I want to get the underside now.
an attractive job.
Yeah.
He'll also make it a point to wipe off that excess purple cement, as he knows how unattractive I feel that purple stuff is. And as I've always said, aquarium plumbing should look like art.
No. Put the ring on there, brother.
Ring. Oh, ring. There's a ring. Duh.
Oh, the thing that everybody forgets to put
I
on.
was here watching.
He did that at home. I saw Dan at Age of Aquariums do it
Right.
once.
Go ahead and let it go.
I've done it a few times.
I was just making sure I was going to see.
Good catch, Cande.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay, so the tank is in its place. They've adjusted the legs for the stand to match the lines on the floor. They've got it the appropriate distance from that back wall. Now they're making sure that the tank is properly sat on its stand. And now it's time to make sure that the whole thing is level. There's a level up there, and then they've got a piece of wood up there to make sure that X and Y axis are level, because as I understand it, the house from one end to the other end is about 2 inches off, so that's what I was told anyhow. So they will have some shims put in place down around the bottom, and depending upon what they come up with up here with the level, they'll make adjustments as necessary. Once they've got the tank leveled to the point where they're comfortable, then they'll start reassembling the rock sculpture back inside the tank. In the meantime, Scott is now starting to assemble the filter system. It is a hot June day. We did pick up a tent, and we've got it straddled over the filter box outside here so that we don't sit in the direct sunlight. Brought along a little fan to create a breeze here, and maybe to also blow some of that PVC cement and such around so everybody doesn't catch a buzz. This is the new Fluval SP series pump. Scott highly recommends it, and he is currently putting the inlet and outlet bulkheads or ball valve fittings, union ball valve fittings, in place.
Again, I'm using the Teflon paste.
Oh, he loves that Teflon paste.
Yeah, especially on the larger fittings, Teflon tape leaks easier. And the interesting thing is, if you go to the manufacturer's websites for most plastic PVC fittings, or most of the PVC fittings, they recommend not using Teflon tape on PVC fittings as a general rule. It's in the instructions or on their website.
So over here we've got the custom sump in place, 2 inlets into it, which will go into what we'll call kind of a settling or a pre-filter chamber. That water in turn will rise up and then spill across into the 2 holes that are intended for 7-inch socks. That again will rise up down across that weir into the open chamber here, which is where the protein skimmer will go. It's a defined depth, so the protein skimmer was always in X amount of water. It'll then spill through another set of weirs, and at this end will be where the water pump will pick up, draw that water out. There'll be a chiller, 3rd horsepower, that'll end up sitting over in here, and then there is also a UV sterilizer over here in the white box, 25 watt. That too will be plumbed into the flow. We'll end up either marking it or maybe even cutting it ourselves. The exhaust for the chiller. Of course, at the same time, we have to also get the other ends of the pipe that come up from the trench. This is 2 of them rising up here and another 2 rising up there. So we'll have to drill holes into the back of the cabinets to accommodate those. So we're off and rolling. Thank goodness. I kept getting teased by the 2 fellows about lunch. And sorry boys, no lunch today. You'll have to deal with the soda pops and the chips.
Such a slave driver.
Candy bars that I brought.
Please don't sprain your fingers with that camera.
And well, that's what happens when you get to be the boss. I'm the one who had to share all the stress for the last 2 weeks. So anyhow, we're rolling, and this is coming along.
I'll put the camera down and give me a hand.